what we'll get into as we talk about, PayPal, SoFi, and Nubank potentially in our members video is I like an exceptional business at a fair valuation. So Shopify for me is just one of those businesses that I'm willing to pay a premium. Yep. But also, I've been a shareholder for years and years, so I'm very green on that position. But that being said, with PayPal, talking about the CEO, I'm really hoping that they get either some young blood in there or potentially even what I've talked about on the channel a couple of times is John Kim. John Kim is their chief product officer right now. Very smart guy. And he's the one that's been really pushing for, I think, this spreadsheet this slide that you were talking about, if I could share my screen here, that they're pushing out more innovations now than ever, right, through PayPal. And I think that this is the only way for PayPal to continue to keep their dominance is if they continue to innovate on newer and newer products and stay top of mind whenever it comes to digital wallets, because I do think that that's where the that's where the people are going. And John Kim has been the largest sort of player whenever it comes to talking about buy now, pay later. That's been his big thing. And I think that's actually how we connected was you messaged me or commented under my buy now, pay later thing on Twitter. You're practically turning a payment processor right now into a credit company. And like I said, I'm a fan of SoFi. I'm okay with a nice credit company if you can manage the risks. And who has more transactional data than the company that has 400 million users? So
100%. Yeah, a lot of great points there. And obviously, they sold off the debt from the European side very recently.
Yeah.
And I love to hear your perspective. My perspective, I liked that. I understand it's not going to maybe help them make as much money as if they held all that, but I just kind of think of if they can, because that's I guess you can say one of the last kind of bear theses is like, oh, they got to buy now, pay later. What if these people don't pay? What type of hits are they going to have to take in terms of what that could hit their EPS and in cash outlays and things like that? But so I actually like that. I don't know if you like that or not, but I actually like kind of de-risking. I wouldn't mind if they did it on the US side as well.
There it is. Yeah, KKR is what we're talking about here. They actually purchased $44 billion worth of PayPal's receivables for buy now, pay later. Super exciting. I think what they actually netted was $1.8 billion for that transaction. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. One something billion dollars went to just buy back shares, and then the other 700 they're just sort of coasting on for future growth.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wasn't sure about the specific number. It was hard to find anything about the specific number in kind of the press release and whatnot, I noticed, which kind of was a little frustrating. I'm like, can you guys just put it there simply?
Yeah. But still, I mean, I personally think it's a good move, right? I think, I don't know the exact specifics of what they were supposed to net versus, the discount that they gave for selling all those receivables. And even the complexity is like, how do you sell a $44 billion portfolio that nets you a zero APR? Essentially, what they're actually getting is the transactions for that actual amount over time. But it's just, it's interesting that they were able to do that. And like you said, they'll probably do a similar thing in America as well.
Yep. That's definitely my hope, personally, because I think PayPal just thinks of it as just, we want to try to run as many transactions through our processes as possible and make it as easy for folks to do whatever they want to do, if that's buy now, pay later, as possible. And so, I don't think they really want to take on the risk like being a bank. Mm-hmm. That's kind of my opinion. And I also don't think they want to see themselves as a bank. And I don't think they really want the stock market, to look at PayPal and think it's a bank. They kind of really want to be seen as a fintech company. But if you start holding tons of debt and things like that, then people start assuming like, oh, you're just one big giant bank. So
yeah, you want them to be them to be pretty asset light, right?
Yes, kind of like Shopify's done that recently. Obviously with the sales of Deliver and kind of the way they've gone back to old school Shopify, very asset light, and it seems like definitely PayPal wants to go that route as well, which I'm all for that. You
Yeah,
know, yeah, I think you'll build a much more profitable organization over time, and you'll be able to move faster, in my personal opinion. Yeah,
exactly.
kind of
That's
speeding
what I think as well. Is like I do think, especially in this space, as it's actually, things are happening very quickly in the payment space, is that innovation and quick on your feet is seeming to be a big play, because just went over this on the live stream on one of my I do like a fintech frenzy live stream every day.
Okay.
And one of the things that we were covering was QED Investors, which is a big VC company that only invests in fintechs. And they were
Okay.
breaking down the total addressable market growth for all the different areas of neobanking, payments, lending, investments, all the different attributes of fintech. And they said payments till 2030 will still be the largest component of fintech by a long shot, still expected to 5x between now and 2030. Okay. And people think that the largest player in that space is going to die off between now and a 5x growing total addressable market.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What are we talking about here? Like,
So yeah, you know what? That just led me down a thought process here. One of the other beautiful things about PayPal, right? Because going back to the competition thing, and could they be killed off and whatever? Payments is what PayPal's focused on. Like this is their
yeah,
number one core mission. This is what they do. This is the get up and grind. How important is Apple Pay to Apple? Right? Sure, it's important, but of their priorities, this is the seventh, 10th, 15th most important thing that Apple
yeah,
does.
yeah,
For Google, the 10th, 15th, 20th most important thing. So you look at all these different companies that are seen as competitors, and pretty much none of them, it's their core product other than Square with what they built with obviously Cash App and everything they do on the Square Reader side and things like that. So but yeah, so that's kind of my opinion. I just it's a real interesting risk reward. In my opinion, it's the most interesting risk reward, most attractive risk reward I've seen since Meta under 100 last year. You
I
know,
love that you just said that. I've been
mm,
tagging this as a meta play for a long time. This does feel like meta back in October when it was like $80 a share,
yeah,
and people just thought it was a dying brand. Like that was the
mhm,
whole sort of idea, was that this was just a like no one uses Facebook. And then you start looking at the numbers, you're like, oh wait, 2.9 billion people use Facebook.
yeah,
And
yeah. And the
it's a
other thing
similar
with
thing.
Yeah, the other thing with Meta was at that time, they hadn't cut employees yet, so everybody was talking about, "Oh, look at how much they're spending in the metaverse," and there was also worries about the economy. There's a million things going on with Meta. For right now, with PayPal, it seems like their version of the metaverse is more, in terms of the worry side, is CEO. Who's the next CEO, CFO? Where's the future of this company going? And honestly, my opinion is, I think that's where a lot of big money is waiting for, is to really get clarity around that. I think once big money gets clarity around that, I think we can see this stock probably move up pretty quickly. I'm not going to play some 1 month out calls on this or something like that, but
Yeah.
I think whenever that comes, I think it's going to be massive for the stock price, because I think a lot of people are just waiting and they're just like, and I will be honest, they're kind of dragging this on a little bit, but I think if hopefully they got something to say on this conference call coming up here. I don't know when PayPal reports, probably in a few weeks from now. But whenever they do the conference call, hopefully they got something. If they don't have the person, they at least are like, yeah, we're nailed it down to 2 or 3 people, or we're very close to making our decision.
Yeah.
Because I think this is just the biggest overhang on the stock is like, who's going to be leading this company, and are they going to be spending? Are they going to be spend, and profitability is going to take a hit? Or are they going to try to rein in spending? Like, I think that's what a lot of big money is trying to figure out. So.
And I think that the problem is, I loved Dan Schulman. Like I think he revolutionized the company. He completely changed the way they worked, and so it's kind of sad to see him go. But I think he's being forced out. Just personally, I think that
Wow.
he made a lot of grandiose predictions during COVID, and then they didn't come true. And
Yeah.
so I think that was kind of his big blunder. But very similar to Shopify in that case too. Like Shopify thought that all this momentum in e-commerce was going to grow and then stay flat. but both companies were wrong in the idea that it actually started to fall as people went back to, in-person shopping, like brick and mortar. But so maybe I fell for that overall, but like, who knows?
Amazon, everybody pretty much e-com related, got a little too confident, obviously, in Rona, and all of them suffered immensely. I mean, Amazon was down about 50% last year, peak to trough. PayPal 70, 80%. Shopify was 80%. So peak to trough. I mean, it was obviously vicious, but now it definitely feels like the starting of the comeback for a lot of these stocks. And obviously Shopify, I think that bottomed out, I want to say at 25-ish. And, now we're pushing 60 plus. And obviously Amazon started to come back. PayPal's even started to come back, but I just think PayPal's probably the earliest kind of in that bunch. So